If you've ever opened an API documentation page and immediately closed it because it looked confusing, this video is for you. Many beginners think API documentation is written only for developers, but the truth is, QA engineers need API documentation just as much. Because without understanding the documentation, you won't know which endpoint to test, which request body is required, which headers are mandatory, what response should be returned, what errors to expect. Today, I'll show you exactly how I read API documentation as a tester before I even open Postman. When you receive an API testing task, many beginners immediately open Postman and start sending requests. But that's actually the wrong starting point. A better approach is to first read the API documentation. This helps you understand what the API is designed to do, what data it expects, and what results it should return. Once you understand the API, you can create meaningful test scenarios. You'll know what to test, what valid and invalid inputs to use, and what behaviors to verify. Only then should you open Postman and execute your API requests based on those scenarios. Finally, compare the actual response with the expected behavior described in the documentation. Check the status code, response body, headers, and error messages to make sure everything works as intended. Documentation tells you exactly how the API is expected to behave. As testers, our job is to verify whether the implementation matches the documentation. Think of API documentation as an instruction manual for communicating with a software service. Just like a user manual explains how to operate a new device, API documentation explains how applications communicate with each other. It describes what the API does, the available features, the endpoints you can use, how to authenticate, what data to send, what responses to expect, and the possible error messages. For developers, API documentation explains how to integrate with the API. For QA engineers, it explains exactly what behavior should be tested and verified. Everything we need to build meaningful API test cases is usually already documented. Before we start reading a real API documentation, it's helpful to understand how most API documentation is organized. Although every company has a different layout, most API documentation follows a similar structure. You'll usually find an overview that explains what the API does, authentication instructions, a list of available endpoints, request parameters, and request body examples, response examples, error codes, and troubleshooting information. Once you know this structure, you don't have to read every page. You can quickly jump to the section you need when testing an API. Now, let's read a real API documentation together. For this demonstration, I'll be using the Swagger Pet Store API, which is a free practice API widely used by QA engineers to learn and practice API testing. Don't worry if you've never seen API documentation before. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. When I open an API documentation page, I don't try to read every single line. That can be overwhelming, especially for beginners. Instead, I focus on 6 key sections that help me understand how to test the API effectively. These 6 sections tell me almost everything I need before I even open Postman. Let's go through them one by one. The endpoint tells me which API resource I'll be working with. The HTTP method tells me what action the API performs, such as retrieving, creating, updating, or deleting data. The headers provide additional information the server needs, such as the content type or authentication. The request body shows the data I need to send with the request, including any required fields. The response tells me what the API should return, including the status code and response data. The error codes show how the API responds to invalid requests and help me design negative test cases. Once I understand these 6 sections, I'm ready to create test scenarios and begin testing in Postman with confidence. These 6 sections appear in almost every REST API documentation, so once you learn them, you'll be able to read most API docs with confidence. The first thing I look for is the endpoint. An endpoint is the specific URL path that allows us to interact with a particular API resource or perform a specific action. Each endpoint supports one or more HTTP methods, such as GET for retrieving data or POST for creating new data. The full request URL is created by combining the base URL with the endpoint. For example, if the base URL is https://petstore.swagger.io. Then you'll see endpoints like /pet, /store/order, /user/login. These combine to form complete URLs, such as https://petstore.swagger.io/pet. Each endpoint performs a different function, so identifying the correct endpoint is always the first step before sending an API request. Next, I check the HTTP method. The HTTP method tells us what action the API performs. For example, GET retrieves data, POST creates new data, PUT updates existing data, DELETE removes data. For example, POST/pet is used to add a new pet, while GET/pet/pet ID retrieves information about a specific pet. After identifying the endpoint and HTTP method, I check whether the API requires any parameters or headers. Parameters provide additional information that the API needs to process the request. These can include path parameters, for example, pet ID and /pet/pet ID, query parameters, such as status equal available, form data for certain requests. Next, I check the request headers. Headers provide additional information about the request, such as the content type or authentication credentials. For example, some endpoints require an API key or authorization header before you can access them. In Swagger, you can use the Authorize button to provide these credentials. If a required header is missing or incorrect, the request may fail. As a tester, I always verify. Are there any required headers? Does the endpoint require authentication? Are there any path or query parameters? This helps me prepare the request correctly before I start testing. Now let's look at the request body. This tells me exactly what data I need to send to the server. For example, when adding a new pet using POST/pet, the documentation provides a sample JSON request like this: ID, category, name, photo URLs, tags, status. This is extremely helpful because I can simply use it as a starting point in Postman. As a tester, I immediately think about positive and negative test cases. What happens if a required field is missing? What if the data type is incorrect? What if I send an empty value? Those ideas come directly from reading the request body. Most API documentation provides sample request bodies and code snippets in different programming languages. Even if you're not a developer, these examples are incredibly useful. Instead of building a request from scratch, you can copy a sample into Postman, verify that it works, and then modify different fields to create both positive and negative test scenarios. Next, I review the expected response. This shows me what the server should return after processing my request. It usually includes HTTP status code, response body, example JSON. Knowing the expected response makes it much easier to validate my API tests in Postman. When reviewing the response, I check, is the status code correct? Are all the expected fields present? Are the values accurate? Does the response structure match the documentation? This is how we verify that the API behaves as expected. The example response also serves as the expected result during testing. Instead of guessing what the API should return, I compare the actual response in Postman with the documented response to confirm that the API is working correctly. Finally, I check the status codes. These tell me what happens when something goes wrong. For example, 200 OK means the request was successful. 201 created indicates a new resource was created successfully. 400 bad request means there's an issue with the request. 404 not found means the requested resource doesn't exist. 500 internal server error indicates a server-side problem. As a tester, I don't just verify successful responses. I also create negative test cases to ensure the API returns the correct status codes when invalid requests are sent. That's an important part of API testing. Now that we've identified these 6 key sections in the API documentation, we're ready to create meaningful test scenarios and start testing the API in Postman. At this point, you might be wondering, I've read the documentation. Now what? This is where the mindset of a QA engineer is different from that of a developer. Developers usually read the documentation to understand how to build or integrate the API. But testers read the same documentation with a different goal: to identify risks, think of edge cases, and design effective test scenarios. Every section of the documentation gives us ideas for what to test. Endpoint. When I see an endpoint, I don't just note the URL. I ask myself, what happens if I use the wrong endpoint? What if the pet ID doesn't exist? What if the endpoint is misspelled? Does the API return the correct 404 not found response? HTTP method. Next, I look at the HTTP method. Then I ask, what happens if I send a post request instead of a get request? Can I accidentally use put where only post is allowed? Does the API reject unsupported methods with the correct status code? Headers and authentication. Then I review the headers and authentication requirements. Questions that come to my mind are, what happens if I remove the authorization header? What if I use an invalid token? What if the content type is incorrect? Does the API return the appropriate authentication or validation error? Request body. The request body is one of my favorite sections because it generates many test ideas. For example, what if a required field is missing? What if I send an empty value? What if the data type is incorrect? What if I send extra fields that aren't documented? What happens if I exceed the maximum character limit? Response. When I review the response, I don't just check if the API returns data. I verify, are all expected fields present? Are the field names correct? Are the data types correct? Are the values accurate? Is sensitive information exposed that shouldn't be? Status codes and error handling. Finally, I focus on status codes and error responses. I ask, does the API return the correct status code for each scenario? Is the error message meaningful and consistent? Does the API handle invalid requests gracefully? Does it return the same response format for errors as it does for successful requests? This is the difference between simply using an API and testing an API. Instead of assuming everything will work, QA engineers ask, what if? That simple question helps us uncover bugs before users do. If this is useful, subscribe for more QA and API testing videos. Before I start testing any API, I always go through a simple checklist. It only takes a few minutes, but it saves me a lot of time during testing. Here's what I check. Endpoint, am I testing the correct API resource? Method, should I use get, post, put, or delete? Does this endpoint require authentication or a token? Headers, are there any required headers, such as content type or authorization? Request parameters, does the API expect query parameters or path parameters? Request body, what data needs to be sent with the request? Required fields, which fields are mandatory for a successful request? Optional fields, what additional fields can I test? Expected response, what should the API return if everything works correctly? Status codes, which HTTP status codes should I expect for different scenarios? Error messages, how should the API respond when something goes wrong? Once I understand these 11 items, I feel confident creating test cases and testing the API in Postman. Following this checklist ensures I'm not guessing. I have a clear understanding of what the API is expected to do before I begin testing. Before I finish, let me share a few habits that make reading API documentation much easier. First, don't try to read every single page from beginning to end. Start with the overview so you understand the purpose of the API. Next, review the authentication section because many APIs won't work without the correct credentials. Then focus on the endpoint you're testing instead of the entire documentation. If something goes wrong during testing, don't panic. Go straight to the error code section. It often explains exactly why your request failed. Finally, practice by making small API requests in Postman. The more you experiment with the examples in the documentation, the faster you'll become at understanding new APIs. Don't try to memorize every API documentation. Instead, practice reading one documentation every day. Within a few weeks, you'll naturally recognize patterns. The more documentation you read, the easier API testing becomes. The next time you're assigned an API testing task, don't open Postman first. Open the API documentation. Spend 5 minutes understanding it, and you'll save yourself hours of debugging later. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.